So if you're watching this, I'm pretty sure that you have an AeroGarden that's out of control. Maybe you forgot about it, or maybe you were outside in the garden like I was all season gardening, and now you want to grow inside because it's getting cold. So let's take a look at how you can clean it and then plant it and pretend that never happened. Hello my darlings, and welcome back to my channel. I am Kiri Martin, and I'm just a city girl who wishes she was a country girl who is currently living in the burbs. If this is your first time here, then stick around and you'll get lots of hints and tips on micro homesteading, growing your own food, some DIYs, gardening, all sorts of things, but basically learning how to be more self-sufficient. So if this is the kind of thing that you like, then hit subscribe down below and also hit the notification bell so then you'll know when I post videos in the future. So now let's go inside and take a look at the disgusting mess that is my AeroGarden. Don't judge me, please. It's bad, I know, but we're gonna clean it up and then we'll be ready to grow food all winter long. Okay, so the first thing you're gonna wanna do is clean out any of the plant material that's kind of gotten out of control. Save any seeds. I'm gonna save these lettuce seeds here. And you're gonna want some good trimmers to do that. I love these little Fiscus ones. I will leave a link down below. And then I am going to clean this all up and then we will get going. Okay, so I had this little jar and I was putting my seeds in, and then I just found the lettuce seed mother load when I pulled away from the lights. Holy cow. So the jar wasn't going to cut it anymore. I had to get to a large Ziploc bag. This is the lettuce seed from a single plant. And fun fact, I did not realize before that lettuce seed is essentially like a giant dandelion, which means there's lettuce seeds everywhere now. So lesson learned, don't let the lettuce get out of control. The other thing I want to point out is when you're taking the pucks out, be careful. I'm probably going to cut away at that. This is another thing to consider when you're transplanting. Obviously this isn't in the state to transplant. I'll do another video on how to do that another day, but you can transplant out of an AeroGarden, just not when it looks like this. Okay, so before I turn this off so I can safely unplug everything, I just wanted to give you a full view of the level of this disaster. Yep, that's my shame right there. But as I've said before, and as I will say again, I'm never going to let it get like this again. But I probably will. I'm not going to lie. So, let's at least clean it up for this time. I will then unplug this. Yeah. So you're going to want to unplug the pump and the water level. And then, once I've done that, I'll carry this upstairs and we will keep cleaning it up there. Okay, so somehow I managed to make it upstairs without dumping the entire thing on top of me, which is good. So if you're going to clean your AeroGarden, don't fill it up like the day before you plan to clean it. It's just not a good idea. So now we will take off the top, hopefully without dumping it now. And yep, there you go. Goop. Look at that. That is a lot of roots. So, yeah. Step one is going to be to dump this. So, I'm going to do that. I need 2 hands, and we'll be back in a second. So, you have the pump right here in the center. And then this other piece over here, and it might be in a different place on yours, but if you have the water level feature, which I'm pretty sure all of them do, for me this is my water sensor. So this comes apart too. There's a little piece inside. It only goes in one way. It also helpfully has up, which is hard to see on there, but it has up written on the top, so you know that's facing up. It only goes in the one way. Let me see if I can put this in. So mine goes in like that, and the idea is it slides. Not exactly sure, but the cord goes in here for the back, so I'm assuming there's some sort of magnet or something in here that reads when it's at the top, but I'm going to have to do all that and check it out, and I will let you guys know. If somebody else knows, then let me know in the comments below, and then we'll all know. So you are going to need at this point some paper towels or a cloth that you're going to use, a screwdriver so you can take apart the pump, just a little bit, so don't worry about that. It won't be too bad. And then we will get this cleaned out. All right, so hopefully you can see well enough. Okay, so we're just gonna use a screwdriver and carefully take out, and don't lose the little screws. They're just little ones. I'll put them up there. There's only 2. And you're also going to want to make sure when you're putting them back in that you don't do it too tightly, because you definitely don't want to go and strip these. You're just going into plastic, so you don't have to go crazy with this. They're just there to hold it in place. And then, using 2 hands, the top will pop off, little casing, and then you can remove the pump. And as you can see, the pump is gross. The roots will get in anywhere that they can, so we're going to want to clean all of that out as well. Okay, so that's one more thing to go. And then we have these bits, those in the sink, and now we can give this a good scrub. So another thing I want to mention, when you are cleaning the bowl of your Aerogarden, you're not going to want to use any soap, or at least I don't. You're also not going to want to use anything that's going to scratch the plastic. So a soft sponge, or an old rag or a cloth, and then just some good old elbow grease. There really shouldn't be anything in here that's really sticks. There's just some muck, and then you've got, well, I've got some algae over there, which you can kind of just even scrape off with your fingers. So nothing's going to really need anything that abrasive anyways. So just some elbow grease, some warm water, and give it a good cleaning. Okay, so I just got an old face cloth. I'm just gonna give all the edges a good cleaning. Another thing you're probably gonna want to grab, if you have them, is either some Q-tips, or even better than Q-tips, I've found are pipe cleaners. So as soon as I've given this a scrub, I am gonna go and grab some of those. You'll see why in a minute. We don't need them so much to clean the base, but we're definitely gonna use them to clean the top part. This guy, this thing's, we'll leave that to the end because it's much more of a pain in the butt to clean than the bowl. The bowl's easiest. So I like to do that first, then I know it's out of the way. Plus it's also for the biggest. So I do that, then I'll clean the water level, and then I'll clean the pump. And then after that, I tackle the other piece. I mean, I guess I could have done it first and got it over and done with, but nah, I'm just gonna leave it to the end and prolong my misery. So you may want to do it first. That's up to you. All right, let me finish cleaning this, and then I'll show you the next steps. Something else that might be handy is a toothpick. Again, being really careful, we don't want to scratch this if we can help it. Plastic is porous, so we don't want to give algae or anything else anything to grip onto. So I just found this little guy hiding out down in the bottom of the water pump, so I just carefully used a toothpick and got that out. It can also be good for getting in here into where the pump is. There was a couple more little roots hanging around down there. I just want to get out as much as possible. We're going to put something else in here in a minute to give it a really good sterilizing. So we're just getting off any of the surface gunk and muck. So it's already looking better. So I'm going to give it a rinse, and then we'll move on to the pump. Okay, so the pump. Well, it just got stuck on the sink, so most of the roots just came off. So that's handy. So then you can just pick off any of the bits that are underneath. And then what I like to do again is to use that toothpick and to very carefully go in here and just tease out any of the roots that have gotten in here, because they do like to get in there. So I just broke my toothpick, so I'm gonna go grab another one. Okay, so I got 2 toothpicks and 2 pipe cleaners. So all you're gonna do with the toothpick, if I can get this in focus, is just very carefully just go in the hole there, and you can just tease out any bits of muck and gunk. So This isn't really hard to do, it's just very tedious. So I'm going to clean this all out and then I will show you what it looks like when I'm done. Yeah. All right, so I ended up actually using the pipe cleaner to clean inside the tube, which you can see had some gunk on it. So that's handy. So we got this pretty clean. I took off the tube as well, obviously. I used the toothpick to go in first and pull out any of them. I'm not jamming the toothpick in, I'm just pulling anything that's right at the edge. And then I used the pipe cleaner to go in and just give it a little bit more of a cleaning. But again, really gently, we don't want to damage anything in here. It's pretty well covered in there, but still, just be gentle. I mean, these things aren't cheap. And yeah, just give it a clean. So there you go. I'm going to put that back together and pop it into the water bowl. Okay. Okay, so the pump is back in one piece. So you see there's 3 suction cups on the bottom. So if you're concerned about which way this is going to go back in, they have 3 helpful guides down there. We just want to line those up and nestle that back in there. I like to give it a press down, and then we can take the top plate. All right, this is a lot easier when you have 2 hands. Okay, hang on. This isn't going to work. Okay, so with 2 hands, it's much easier to get the top plate on. Then we can go and grab those screws. Being careful not to drop them down the sink or anything. And just pop them in. Give them a little bit of a hand tighten. And then, all right, I'm struggling there. Grab my screwdriver. And again, like I said, just carefully put them in. The point of these screws is pretty much just to hold it in place. It's not like this thing's moving very much. So we don't want to go and strip it because you're just putting it into plastic. Okay, so that is our pump back in and assembled. I've also rinsed the float, and like I said, it fits back in. It goes in one way, so it's pretty easy. And then pop that on the back, just push it down, and then that is ready to go. So if anybody has any suggestions on an easier way to get the 2 top plates apart, let me know down in the comments, because I would love to hear what you figured out, because right now I'm about to go and struggle. Okay, so that went a little easier. I haven't popped the 2 apart yet, but what I did, just so I can show you guys, is I started with the one corner and I pushed on both of those, just easing them over the edge. Then I went to the other corner where there are the other 2, so it's the 4 in the corners. Then I pushed off the little one in the middle. Then I came over to the one on this side, followed by this side, and then the last 2 I did was this corner. So I will separate this and then we'll take a look at how bad it is. Okay, so I got the 2 pieces apart. You just have to keep pushing. Even once you've got the little clips off, you have to kind of like nudge them all individually to kind of push it apart. And then the 2 pieces come out. Before it was sitting like this, and then you can take it out and flip it over. You can get some roots and stuff that get up in here. I actually don't have any, just a little more residue than anything up here. So I am just going to give it a good rinse. And then the reason that I use the pipe cleaners, so what I like to do is I like to fit the pipe cleaners into the ridges in here, and then you can give it a turn, and of course easier with 2 hands, and then it just helps to clean out in the ring. I'll give it a couple more goes. But so the pipe cleaners make it so much easier to clean in here. Originally I started out using Q-tips, but you just go through so many and it's just so wasteful. With the pipe cleaners, I can just keep rinsing them off, and I can do the whole thing with 1, maybe 2, but just a lot less wasteful. Okay, so nice and clean. Pipe cleaner's been in everywhere. Down where the the water comes through, that's another good place to run the pipe cleaner. All nice and clean. Lots of roots and everything in my compost pot to go outside. The top's got some staining. That's just not going to come off. I don't feel the need to bleach it or to try much harder. It's nothing on the surface. It's just literally a stain. and it's not really going to affect anything. So I'll just leave that as is. So I'm going to pop these two pieces back together, and then we can talk about how to sterilize this. So when you're putting it together, you still have to be careful. So I like to kind of get one side in and then just kind of start easing in all the tabs on all the different sides. And then it's a bit close. It's hard to do with one hand again. Just ease it in. You can hear them clicking. You don't want to force it. It should just go back together. And there we go. We're done. And then we can put that back in first. And then just give it a flip it over. And just kind of make sure everything's clipped. That one. The little ones, usually I like to give it a push because that one's the harder one to get in. And then everything else is good. So I'm going to call that cleaned. Okay, so now we need to talk about sterilizing it. So we've cleaned everything, we've put it back together. At this point you can connect it back up with all the wires and everything. And you have a choice to make. Are you going to sterilize with vinegar, or are you going to sterilize with bleach? So it's up to you. Vinegar is going to be more natural and not as harsh as the bleach. It's really just a personal choice. I've done it with both just to try it out. But I will go through both methods so you can make the decision for yourself and then do whichever one works for you. Okay, so I'll run through the vinegar method first. So if you're using vinegar, you're going to want a 1-to-1 ratio. So 1 cup of water to 1 cup of vinegar. So for the Aerogarden Farms, they use about 30 cups. So you're going to need a lot of vinegar. This is one of the reasons you may choose to use bleach, because you're going to use a lot less. But if you want to use the vinegar, for the farm, you're going to need 15 cups of vinegar and then 15 cups of water. So you're going to pour that in, and then once it's reconnected, you're going to let the pump run and leave it in there for 30 minutes. Once that time's up, you're going to take the top off. You're going to very carefully dump out all the water into the sink, refill it with clean water, let it run for 5 more minutes. And then I like to dump it out one last time, refill it again with clean water, put in new grow baskets and sponges, and reseed your Aerogarden, and you're good to go. All right. If instead you would like to do the bleach method, you are going to need a 1/4 cup of bleach per 10 cups of water. So for the farm, again, we're going to need 3/4 cup of bleach for the 30 cups of water. You're going to let it run for the same 30 minutes. And at this point, you're probably thinking, well, that's a lot easier and a lot less stuff. Why don't I just do that one? But here's the kicker. Once you've done that and you empty it out and you let it run for the 5 minutes with the clean water, you're going to empty it. But now, instead of refilling it again and starting to plant, you're going to have to leave it empty for 48 hours. So we just want to make sure that any of the bleach is evaporated. There is nothing left. Once the 48 hours is up, then you can reassemble it, fill it with clean water, and start your planting. Okay, so there we have it. Mine's all clean, sterilized, reassembled. One thing I love is this 1 gallon Aerogarden jug that I use to refill my Aerogarden. I'll put the link down below in case you guys want to check it out. It's just really handy, and it makes filling up the large farm tanks a lot quicker. Okay guys, so that's pretty much it. Your Aerogarden should be nice and clean and ready to be reseeded. Don't forget to put nutrients in, get things all started. I'm planning to put in some Charentais melon seeds. I grew them for the first time outside this year, and I wanted to try them. I wanted to try growing them hydroponically. So let me know down in the comments, what Aerogarden do you have, and what is the craziest thing that you've tried to grow in it? And did it work? I'd love to hear, and until next time, happy gardening!